All right, everyone, and welcome back to my mini series on leadership entitled Higher Education Leadership Unplugged, Real Talk for Real Results. I always believe that if we want to get to the next level in our careers, we have to be real with ourselves. Okay, my name is K.A.T, founder of Motivate with K.A.T, which is an admissions and leadership training company. I started this mini series of 10 quick 10-minute leadership videos because I feel like we're always pouring into our staff. It's always about our teams, which is critical. But who's pouring into you? I know that you guys want to see your teams win, but your cups can't be empty at the same time. So I'm giving tips on how to motivate and inspire your teams, but also empower yourselves as leaders so that you can become the best version of yourself. So thank you for those who joined yesterday. Yesterday, we spoke about, is leadership even for you? Sometimes we are living today for who we were 100 years ago, over a decade ago, right? However, sometimes who we are today, it doesn't match up. So you have to understand, are you in leadership for the right reason or no? Today, we're talking about how to encourage and gain trust within your teams. All right. So I'm going to talk from the new enrollment director perspective, and then I'm going to talk from seasoned directors. All right. So, first off, if you are a new enrollment director, you're going into a brand new campus. First off, please do not make the same mistake that I made. All right. Take the time to get to know your team. When I was coming up as a brand new enrollment director, I was actually training before I took on that role. So there was a lot of things that I knew an admissions team should look like. There's a lot of things that I knew within the campus, different policies that should be in place. And what happened is, when I went into this campus, I tore everything apart the very first day. That is the absolute worst way to gain trust, okay, with your team, because not only does it affect the enrollment team, it affects all of the departments as well. All right, because as a school, everyone is supposed to be together. So, as painful as it may be to take a seat for your very first week, you have to do it. Just observe. Go in there and observe. Take a lot of notes. Look at what's going on within every department. Look at how every department actually communicates with each other. Take notes. And then your second week, this is where you start to peel the onion back. But do not forget to ask their opinion. So, if you are a brand new enrollment manager, first off, get to know your people. Talk to them on a one-on-one basis. Okay, what I would do is call every single staff member into your office one by one. Get to know their whys and their whats. Why did they choose this role in the first place? What is it that they want to accomplish? What are their goals? What are their aspirations? What's going on in their life right now? How is their experience at this point in time? It's very important for you to get to know every team member, because you can't manage everyone the same exact way. And that is very critical. It's actually one of the areas where a lot of leaders, believe it or not, they go totally left, because you're managing every single person on your team exactly the same way, but then you have 10 different people, 10 different personalities on your team, and you can't do that. So you have to get to know them on a personal basis. Here's another thing that you can do. Talk about your experience, especially if you are going into a role where that was something that you used to do before. Talk about your challenges, talk about your experiences, talk about the things that you didn't like, because now you're finding that common ground within your team. And a lot of times, what happens is, when a team knows that they're getting a new manager, in their mind, they're just thinking, okay, here we go, a new boss again. Someone else that's coming in who really doesn't care what we bring to the table or what we think about anything. But the minute they get a leader that's like, okay, I'm going to be upfront with you. When I was in your role, I hated it. Okay, I was really good at it, but in the beginning, I hated it because of these reasons. You may have people on your team who are like, oh my gosh, there's finally somebody that's actually speaking my language. Okay, now what's happening? You're opening the door. You're bringing that wall down. And that's how you're going to begin to gain trust. What I had to do, I had to go another step because remember, I went in there and I tore the whole place apart. So what I did, I told every single member on my team, because you have to understand who my team was. I had 5 people. One had applied for the role and didn't get it, and the other one was a demoted DOA. Okay, thank you. But what happened, I went around to every single person and I said, you know what? We do have a class that's coming up in the next 2 weeks. What I want you to do is give me your list of cancels or hard to reach students. And what I did, I took every single one of their list. I went into my office and every day I hit the phones with my team. And I told them that I'm going to bring back one person for each of you to start this next class. And that's exactly what I did. So even though I went in and I tripped up over myself, right, I was able to regain their trust because I joined them. I was the example. So now they only have one role, right? But me coming in as an enrollment leader, I have so many things that's on my plate. And for them to look in my office and say, wow, with everything that she has going on, especially as a brand new enrollment manager, she's actually on the phones with us. Now it became a team. All right. So you have to lead by example. For my seasoned enrollment, leadership teams, you guys may have been in the role for a very long time and you think that you know your team members, right? And it may come to a point where you're thinking, you know what? They're not as excited or as motivated as they were before, right? Something is not connecting anymore. If you have not been doing one-on-ones with your team, it's time to do it. You have to make sure that you're doing those one-on-ones. Because if you're only doing group meetings, there's a lot of team members who don't like to speak in a group, right? They may think that one of their colleagues may say, okay, great, you always have something to say. So they may stay in the background and they may be drowning and you'll never know. So if you have not been doing those one-on-ones, make sure that you get with each member of your team every single week. What I used to do in my last role as an enrollment leader, I actually had everyone on a schedule 15 minutes and it was in their calendar. So it's automatic. So every single Monday, or you can do it at the ending of the week. 1 o'clock was one person, 1:15, the next person is walking in. Okay, 1:30, the next person is walking in. And then what happens is some of those weeks when I got really busy and I totally forgot about the meetings, guess who was at my door? My team, because they remembered, because they enjoyed the meetings, because it was about them. All right. When you're having these one-on-ones, it can't be all about business. You have to talk about their goals. Okay. Why are you here? What do you want to accomplish? You may have somebody on your team who wants to become a manager, right? So you have to be the example for them. True leaders promote other leaders, right? So you always want to ask, okay, so what are your goals? What do you want to do? You may find out that some people on your team do not want to be in your department anymore. They may want to be a part of another team within your school, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. If there's an opening, get with the director, okay, and say, hey, I have a staff member here who would love to be a part of your team, and create that relationship between the two of them. All right. Do not be greedy and leave these people for yourself, because if they don't want to be with you, eventually, if they don't move to another department, they're going to move to another school. All right. So be very careful with that. So have those one-on-ones. Most importantly, as a leader, you have to ask every single member, how can I make your experience better? And I know that this is a question that you seldom hear leaders ask, but it's so critical. You have to be able to sit with your team and say, how can I be of support to you? You would be surprised what your team members have to say. And if you're trying to motivate a team, how better to motivate them than to ask those same members, if you were in my seat, what are some of the things that you would actually do to motivate this team? Whatever answer they give you, make sure you take it and you run with it. All right. Because they are the team. So remember, if you're a brand new enrollment manager, get to know your team first. Sit back, observe what's going on in the campus, take a lot of notes so that you can actually discuss the wins and opportunities the next week. For my seasoned Enrollment managers, make sure that you're having those one-on-ones with your team members. You may not realize that they have so much on their heart that they need to get out, right? So that personal time is very good for them and for you. And don't forget that special question: how can I make your experience better? Okay. And that's how you're going to be able to gain trust from your enrollment team. They have a lot on their plate. It's a very emotional role. They have to have a lot of emotional stamina. So thank you for joining today. If you found this insightful, make sure that you like, you share, and you subscribe. If there's anyone that you feel can benefit from this short series, please share the link with them and let me know your ideas on topics that you want to discuss. I will see you guys on Monday at 2:15 Eastern. Take care.